Good morning, everyone. So welcome to this series of webinars with iXamBee. Today's topic is going to be how do I optimize and maximize my preparation in the last week of RBI Grade B exam. Today we have two esteemed panelists with us who will share their views and guidance for the students. We have Shri Chandraprakash Joshi, who has been with RBI for a considerable period of time, and he has also been AIR 5 in RBI exam himself. Our second panelist is Srimati Arunima Sinha, who is also an ex-bank officer, and she has also been a trainer with for a number of years, and she has guided thousands of students in cracking various competitive exams. So we welcome both the panelists, and we begin the discussion now. In the meanwhile, we are looking for a very interactive session. So please send in your questions in the chat panel next to your YouTube video. If you're finding any issues in doing so, you can also send an email to info@iXamBee.com. We'll begin the session now with Sri Chandraprakash.
Hi, thank you, Khyati. So I am Chandraprakash, and very good morning to all of you, and many thanks for joining us on this webinar. So guys, to be very frank, this is first time we are conducting this webinar, and we were getting so many requests from many of you, those who are following us on various platforms like Quora and Facebook. So one-to-one discussion is very difficult because we have time constraints. So we thought of conducting this webinar, and we have been realizing that we will continue to conduct this type of sessions for more time and more frequency in future. So just now to focus more on RBI Grade B exam preparation, we have only 1 week left. So I will just briefly give you the brief overview of the exam and what strategy you should follow. So my final word and my first word is the strategy is yours, because you have to win this battle, and you know what weapon you can use best. So, but still giving my own experience and the experience of talking to various people, my friends, my colleagues, and many aspirants. So this is what I will suggest. So and we'll talk today about the phase 1 exam. So phase 1 exam, you all know that we have 200 questions and we have 120 minutes. So first thing is, what is different in RBI Grade B exam. So I think most of you are aware that the major differentiator here is the general awareness part. So general awareness part in RBI exam is different than what we have in bank PO. So in bank PO, most of the questions are on current affairs, but here you will get many questions from economics, banking, government schemes, budget, likewise. And in this also, the trend has been changing. Like last year, there were more questions on current affairs, but before that, there were questions on economy and banking. So we don't know whether this year there will be more questions on current affairs or banking, but definitely RBI is a different exam, and a lot of weightage to economics and banking questions. So I would suggest you be prepared for that, because one more important thing here is that 40% weightage is of general awareness. So I am dividing this phase 1 preparation in two parts. So one is the strategy, what we should do in 2 hours of our exam time, and second thing is about the general awareness part. The third thing, the 60% of the exam. So what you should do in reasoning and quant and English. So I will give it to my colleague Arunima, because she has been an expert trainer. She has been coaching students for last 4 years. So she will highlight that part. So now coming to what you shall do in 2 hours during the exam. So I always suggest start with general awareness, because you have been preparing for general awareness for say months. So you have an opportunity to first uh, put whatever you have learned in all this time, and you can do that in first 15 minutes, maximum 18-20 minutes. So whatever you have learned, you show your knowledge in that 15-20 minutes in the exam, and after that you are free to demonstrate your skills in the rest of the paper. So rest of the paper, my preference. So you may take your preference as per your comfort. So my preference will be, after say first 15 to 20 minutes, I complete general awareness. I would like to go to English, because English is comparatively not very difficult here, and the marks are same whether for English or reasoning for mathematics. So the per minute score is higher in English, because English questions take normally lesser time than in quant or in reasoning. So after general awareness, I will jump to English, and another 20-25 minutes I can complete 25 questions of English. So 25 to even 30 also you can attempt, depending on few questions of vocab where you may not be very comfortable whether you are sure of it or not. So next is reasoning and quant. So you know reasoning has highest number of questions in the second part. So first I like to do quant for two reasons, because after quant I have enough time for reasoning, and second, the accuracy level in quant is higher for me. So I am giving that room to you to decide whether you want to take first reasoning or quant, but I would prefer to spend another 20-25 minutes on quant, and we'll complete say 20 to 25 questions in quant, and then I will go to reasoning. Rest of the time I will spend on reasoning. So reasoning is also very scoring here. So how to score in quant, reasoning and English, Arunima will comment on that after me. Now I will just give a brief idea of what you should do in general awareness for remaining 7 days. So remaining 7 days, first thing is whatever questions we have given you some 800 questions in our 10 mock test. So I would request you to go through these questions again, and especially the solutions, the explanations we have given there, because that contain lot of extra information. The same question can be prepared in a various way. One. Second, you should also read lot of current affairs. So you should use good publications like Parchubita Darpan, like Banking Service Chronicle. So and also the current affair available on website like GK Today. So you will find lot of valuable information there. So you should read as much as possible, because still the weightage of current affairs within the general awareness is quite high, and within the current affairs also give more importance to banking, economics, budget, government schemes, government program, the conferences, the venues and major discussions, some grant and tie-ups with major developed countries, and also like institutions like IMF, World Bank, United Nations. So give all the importance to all these. So read as much as you can, but read the relevant thing and revise it well. So if you are, especially if you are preparing for bank exam till date, so you need to spend more than say 60-70% of your preparation time on general awareness for next 7 days. But if you are an UPSC aspirant, if you have been preparing for civil services and you are comparatively good in general awareness, then I would suggest you do not neglect the rest of the exam, because it is 60% of the exam, which is quite high. And because you have been preparing for civil services, so your general awareness would be better than the rest of the people, and you can score good in general awareness. So in rest 7 days, if you spend more time on practicing reasoning and quant, so you have a probability of scoring higher marks in the main exam, in the phase 1 exam, I mean to say. So this is in brief from my side, that what you should do in next 7 days. Now I am giving it to Arunima. So she will brief you about the 60% of the exam, and after that we will address your questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, CP. Good morning, friends. I'm Arunima, and in GS, I would say you should try to cover as many new topics in GS, but that should not be your strategy in mathematics, English, and reasoning. Because I would say that in mathematics, English, and reasoning, you should not try to learn any new things now, because you have only 7 days left with you. Now, then what should you do? Now, the game is mainly you have to apply. It is mainly about the application of what you have already learned or what you know already. So how I will focus on how you should spend your next 7 days so that you can maximize your score. So first and foremost thing, I would say that every day you must do a mock test, and taking the mock test is very important, and even more important is the analysis of the mock test. So how to do the analysis of the mock test you take? Now try to do the analysis just after you take the test so that you can remember so many minute and subtle things. Now while analyzing the mock test, how to analyze? I would suggest you to categorize the questions in 3 parts, and you do it for all the sections separately. First part should be you attempted and it was correct. Second box would be attempted but not correct, and third would be not attempted at all. So now when you have categorized the questions in these 3 categories, the most important is the box number 2, which was attempted but not correct. Why? Because in these questions you have wasted your time also, and also faced some negative marks. So keep all the attempted and correct questions in your all these questions. You don't have to see now because they were correct, and it means that you have your concepts clear in that section. Now not attempt, I would suggest now, since you have only 7 days left, you should also not focus on not attempted. So your focus should be on attempted but not correct. Now again, say we will take an example of quant question. Suppose you have attempted the question but it was not correct. That means you think that concept in that area was clear. Now in the particular question which you attempted but that was not correct, there are further 4 junctures where you might have made the mistake. First is you have not understood the question properly. So first, not understanding the question properly. Second, you were not able to convert the question into the equation correctly. Second juncture is this. Third, you have made the equation correctly, but while solving the equation you made a calculation mistake. And third, which is most dangerous, is you have correctly solved the sum, but while marking the answer you have chosen the wrong option. So this is the most dangerous. Now I would suggest you to see, as per your temperament, at which juncture you are making the mistakes, and try to improve upon that. So after each test you should make sure that in the further test you should make made in this test. That's why this analysis is really important. Now what I am saying is, for those who have prepared for all the section, ek level tak you have prepared, but those who are not, suppose you have written a mock test and you have scored very well in GS, say quant and reasoning, but you are not able to you feel that you have fetched only 5 or 6 marks in English. That means it may happen that you get total aggregate marks more than total cutoff aggregate marks, but you may not qualify the English paper. For those candidates, I would suggest that these 7 days try to maximize your score in English. So friends, same thing will be applicable for all of you. So you have to make your own strategies. It was an overall for those candidates who have prepared well. Next, I would like to say that if you feel that you have not given much time in last 6 months to this exam, and now in these 7 days you would like to brush up some things. So where you should concentrate? So for English section, I would suggest you to do the grammar part, that is tense and parts of speech. See, these two topics are pillars of English grammar. So I would suggest be thorough in tense and parts of speech, and then learn to apply what you have learned in these two sections. Second, in quant, focus on percentage and DI part now, because most of the questions are from percentage, and DI you would be having 2, 3, 4 DIs. Then reasoning, I would suggest, if see, there are some sections, coded inequality, input output, even if you have not done till now, if you spend 2, 3 hours for coded inequality, you can do those 5 questions in 3 days. Suppose you have learned today and next 7 days you are going to practice it. So 2, 3 minutes you will be able to do 5 questions. One more thing, never attempt puzzle first. First, you should try to do those sections in which you know that you are going to do it correctly. Say coded inequality, input output, coding decoding, syllogs. All these sections are, if you know the concept, you have practiced it, you are going to do very well. And puzzle, you should attempt in the last, after attempting all the questions. So I think that's all from my side, and please post your questions so that we can address that. Thank you.
Thanks, Arunima. We have a few questions from students, and CP will be taking those questions. One moment. Yes.
A question I found it interesting because many people are asking questions on general awareness. So I think Utsa or Abhi, Utsa only, no?
Yes.
So Utsa and Abhi, they have asked this question: ki what is sufficient for general awareness? See, to be very frank, nobody can say ki this is sufficient. Because general awareness is one section which has like infinite knowledge. So, but we can say, yeah, these things are necessary. So, few of the things are like these are minimum things. So, for banking and economics portion, I would say whatever is given in our questions, that will be quite good enough for scoring 70%, 80% in phase 1. But for current affairs, so current affairs is like it's very difficult to say whether this capsule will be enough or not. But the information given on GK Today website is quite nicely arranged. And but is it sufficient? I don't know, because it's very difficult. Who can say it is enough? So I would suggest in the given time you go to other materials also. So you will start with that, and there is a capsule given on Bankers Adda, and then there are competitive magazines like Pratyogita Darpan and Banking Service Chronicle, competition success reviews. So you go to the current affairs and special attention to these sections where they are talking about banking, economy, and government schemes, various grants. So these sections you revise again and again, and remember that lot of questions will be factual questions. So they will have lot of data, like the growth forecast. So what is the forecast by different organizations? So you will get some forecast from IMF. So these numbers have been recently revised. Then there will be some growth forecast by RBI. So there will be a small difference in the number. So you should remember the growth forecast. Likewise, there are some grants given by, or there are some tie-ups done with World Bank, Asian Development Bank. So you should know these numbers. What is the amount also? Then there are conferences happening at various places. Who is attending the conference? What was the major discussion in the conference? Sometimes the question will be more detailed, like there will be option 1, 2, 3, that which is true about the last World Economic Conference. So what was discussed there? So it may be like 2, 1, 2, 3 who attended from RBI side, so Government of India side, and likewise. So my point is, study in detail. You can definitely, you should definitely take this GK Today capsule or Bankers Adda capsule, but I cannot really say that it is sufficient. So my advice is, here you read as much as you can, but also need to have the depth in your study. So it is the surface reading will not be enough. So you have to go deep in the GK side.
CP, as a follow-up question from a student angle.
Yeah.
So if I have to optimize my time, can I focus more on the past 3 to 6 months of current affairs and all of these events which are recent, because
Correct.
they will have more weight?
Yes, yes. I think perfectly right. So as Khyati had pointed out, so the recent events are more important. Like I told about the growth numbers, inflation numbers. So go to the recent numbers. So especially numbers point of view, last 3 months will be good enough. So for conceptual understanding, so you can go to say 6 months to 9 months. So for numbers, last 3 months number will be good enough, because nowadays numbers become obsolete very fast.
We have a few more questions from students. Is it a good idea to learn shortcut tricks for calculations now?
I would suggest.
So I would like
to this question, Arunima can take this question better.
Yes.
Yes.
A minute, I am giving it to Arunima. So this is regarding the shortcut.
So question is. Okay. So I would suggest कि अभी since you have only 7 days, you should not learn any new shortcut tricks, because chances are there you are not certainly you're not will be able to practice it in these 7 days, because you have so many other things in your mind also. So please don't try to learn any new shortcut. Now after this exam, for any further exams, you can start going through the shortcuts. लेकिन मेरा यही सजेशन होगा कि अभी लास्ट मोमेंट में कोई भी नया शॉर्टकट या कोई भी नया कॉन्सेप्ट आप सीखने की कोशिश ना करें, अनलेस अंटिल कोई सेक्शन आपको ऐसा लगता है कि उसमें आप क्वालिफाई नहीं कर पाओगे. सिर्फ उसी सेक्शन के लिए आप कुछ नई चीज करें या उस पर टाइम लगाएं. अगर इफ यू फील कि आप उसमें क्वालिफाई नहीं कर पाएंगे, इफ यू आर एबल टू क्वालिफाई ऑल द सेक्शंस, because cutoff is not very high. Last year it was only 7.5 for mathematics and 7.5 for English. So if you are able to अगर इस बार थोड़ा बढ़ता भी है तो it would be around 10, 12 or maybe 15. So you are able to score 15 in say mathematics and English. You should not try to learn any new trick now in these 7 days. Otherwise you may get confused. So you should focus on what you already know and try to be thorough in your strong areas.
This same point I will add here. as a student, rather my own experience, कि देखिए क्या है हमारे पास ना एग्जाम में we have enough room to play, means we have so many questions, so we have to see on our strength कि which section or which question in the section also I can do best. Suppose I am talking about quant. If you know that you are not good at probability, you can simply drop it. If you don't want to attempt series question, drop it. Even I would say same thing for puzzles. Suppose you are not good at puzzles, because puzzles question में problem क्या है? If you do it, you do all 5 questions correct. If you are unable to solve it, you are under pressure that you have already wasted your 4-5 minutes. So I always like to take puzzles question at the end of the exam, so that by that time whatever I know I have done that. So you have so much of room to play. In learning new tricks at this time is not advisable. So what you should do is you practice mock test and you know what you can do best, because you have like so many questions to choose from, and you do that with 80-90% accuracy. So you can crack the exam, because rest of the exams mean except GK. So your exam hall performance is what matters, and your decision making ability. कौन सा क्वेश्चन वहां पे लेना है और कौन सा छोड़ना है. छोड़ना is like very important. If you can decide within say 2-3 seconds कि this is the question I need to drop, so you are saving your time. आपका जो your return is actually against the time in that 60% of the exam. So I will also not recommend for any new tricks now. So focus on what you know and perform at your.
See, I would like to add something here, CP.
Yeah, please.
Yes. So मेरा कहना यह है कि इस एग्जाम से अच्छा कोई एग्जाम हो नहीं सकता है, because you have 120 minutes for 200 questions. Okay. So all of us know that nobody is going to do all the 200 questions. 200 क्वेश्चन में अगर हमें 120 क्वेश्चन ही आते हैं, सपोज हमें 200 क्वेश्चन के आंसर भी पता होते, फिर भी हमारे पास 120 मिनट ही है 120 मिनट में 120 क्वेश्चन करने के लिए. सो इससे बेटर कुछ नहीं हो सकता है कि मेरे पास 200 क्वेश्चन में 120 भी आता है तो आई कैन स्कोर उस स्टूडेंट के बराबर ही मेरा स्कोर होगा जिसको पूरे 200 क्वेश्चन आते हैं, कि वो भी उन 200 मिनट 120 मिनट्स में 120 क्वेश्चन ही कर पाएगा. सो अगर 80 क्वेश्चंस आपको नहीं आते हैं कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता, बट यहाँ पे आपका वो डिसीजन, वो डिसर्न करने वाला डिसीजन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट हो जाता है कि कौन से क्वेश्चन को अटेम्प्ट करना है और कौन से को नहीं करना है. सीपी ने अभी कहा जैसा कि कौन सा छोड़ना है वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. आई वुड से दैट इज मोर इम्पोर्टेंट, क्योंकि कौन सा लेना है वो तो हम सब एक्सपर्ट है उसमें, कौन सा क्वेश्चन छोड़ना है ये हमें सीखना बहुत जरूरी है. और उसके लिए आपने जितनी प्रैक्टिस कर रखी है, जितनी तैयारी कर रखी है, उसके बेसिस पे ही ये डिसीजन मेकिंग एबिलिटी आप में आती है कि कौन सा क्वेश्चन मुझे करना है और कौन सा नहीं करना है. आई कैन सी वन क्वेश्चन, आई थिंक इट इज अभी. ही सेज हाउ टू नो विच पजल इज इजी एंड विच वन इज डिफिकल्ट. ओके, सो अगेन if you have done so many puzzles, merely looking at the puzzle will tell you how much time it is going to take. It may happen that you know that you can solve this puzzle, but you know that it is going to take your 10 minutes. Please leave that puzzle, because that is costing you, I think, 20 questions, which now you are going to do only 5 questions. So one more question. Somebody is saying that I have not prepared for this exam. This is Tripti. I have not prepared for this exam. What should I read now to maximize my chance of qualifying this exam? So Tripti, I would suggest, if you have not prepared in English, as I said, first go through tense and parts of speech and learn the applications of these two chapters. These are the most important chapters in English, because on these two chapters only your direct, indirect speech, active, passive voice, all other are dependent upon this, and most of the questions you will be able to do even if you have done these 2 questions, because you have not prepared till now. Quant, as I said, go through percentage and do DI as much as you can, and some more chapters you can do, because frequently questions comes from those chapters, that is time and work, time and distance, allegation, बोर्ड्स एंड स्ट्रीम्स. आरबीआई का फेवरेट है, सो बोर्ड्स एंड स्ट्रीम्स को भी आपको कवर कर लेना चाहिए. रीजनिंग में सिंस यू हैव वेरी लेस टाइम, यू डू कोडेड इनइक्वालिटी, सिलॉग्स, इनपुट आउटपुट, all these sections you can try to do one chapter each day, so that you are able to do questions in the exam.
I think Tripti का जो question है ना, that she has not prepared for this exam and what can she do in the remaining time to maximize. So I would suggest Tripti, one is that you try to do your score maximum in general awareness, because that is the section where you can do maximum preparation in the given time. One is that, and secondly, if you are good in English. So because English is, if you know it, and 1 week में तो कुछ भी नहीं हो पाएगा English में खास. So you can score in English, and also you can practice reasoning, because in between reasoning and quant, so reasoning can be practiced in lesser time than quant, where you need to learn mathematics, maybe some basic concept of mathematics. So you can practice reasoning, and you can learn GK, general awareness. So you can learn for last 6 months to 6 months, depending on how much time you can give a day. That is the way, and then try for your best. You never know, and mock test will be very helpful here, because mock test में देखिए, you have 2 advantages. One is that the information given is very customized for the exam, and second is your retention increases. See, the same thing you read as a paragraph or as a newspaper or as a book, a competitive magazine somewhere, and the same information is asked in form of a question. So the trigger in your mind, and especially if you do it wrong, so then you realize, हाँ ये ना मैंने वहाँ गलत किया था, तो वो आपके लॉन्ग टर्म मेमोरी में ज़्यादा अच्छा रहता है. If you मतलब if I ask some question कि who has been appointed as deputy governor recently, so you may have read, but you will forget. but once you do it wrong, then you remember it for longer time. So
Yes.
mock test helps here. And Arunima, apna, you can address this question. Sumit has asked. So he is saying that he is unable to score much in English.
Okay.
After that, I will take Hitesh's question. So for especially for English, you can address this. So how to improve in English? Yeah.
Sumit, English is actually, I would say that it is the most illogical language, because जब हम मैथ्स में पढ़ते हैं 2 + 2 4, तो 2 + 3 फिर 5 ही होता है, वो कुछ और नहीं हो सकता. लेकिन इंग्लिश में क्यों ज्यादातर स्टूडेंट्स इंग्लिश में ही डिस्क्वालीफाई होते हैं, इसका एक रीजन है कि वो बीयूटी बट होता है मगर पीयूटी पुट हो जाता है, तो वो उनको थोड़ा सा इलॉजिकल लगता है. तो इंग्लिश में क्या है कि आपने जितनी इंग्लिश पढ़ रखी है, अगर आपने इंग्लिश की बुक्स पढ़ रखी है, इंग्लिश यू गो थ्रू इंग्लिश न्यूज़पेपर्स, तो यू गेट अ फील. बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस तो ऐसे होते हैं जो उस फील से, जो आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग है इंग्लिश की, उससे सॉल्व कर सकते हैं, लाइक कॉम्प्रिहेंशन एंड फिल अप द ब्लैंक्स. बट अब हमारे पास इतना वक्त नहीं है, सो इंग्लिश को हम मैथमेटिक्स की तरह कोशिश करते हैं करने की, और उसके लिए आप ग्रामर के सम रूल्स ऑफ ग्रामर, एंड आई वुड सजेस्ट टेंस, parts of speech, direct indirect speech, active passive voice, article, and preposition. Preposition plays a very important role. You go through all these, and not only that, you should know the rules, you should know the application also. So side by side, you go through all these, take any class 10 book or Wren and Martin, go through these concepts, and simultaneously write the mock tests also. So while writing the mock test, you come across the questions which are based on these grammar sections. So then you will come to know where you are making mistakes, and after each test आपको देखना है कि जहां आपने गलती की थी वहां नहीं करनी है, कहां पे आपने गलती की, कौन से कॉन्सेप्ट को आप सही तरीके से अप्लाई नहीं कर पाए. दूसरी चीज, वोकैब इंक्रीज करने के लिए, सपोज वन क्वेश्चन इज देयर एंड देयर आर 4 ऑप्शंस, वन ऑप्शन इज करेक्ट एंड अदर 3 ऑप्शंस आर नॉट करेक्ट. सो उसी वक्त जब आप मॉक टेस्ट की एनालिसिस कर रहे हैं, उसी वक्त वो जो गलत ऑप्शंस थे ना, उनकी भी आप मीनिंग देखने की कोशिश करें, क्योंकि ऑल दोज वर्ड्स आर एक्चुअली इंपॉर्टेंट. That way you will increase your vocabulary, and after each mock test you can maximize your score. And one more question I would like to address, कि कौन सा puzzle choose करना चाहिए, कैसे पता चले कि how to know which puzzle is easy one. So आपको वहां पे वेरिएबल देखने हैं, जिस पजल में जितने ज्यादा वेरिएबल होते हैं उसमें उतनी कॉम्प्लिकेसी होती है. दूसरा, पजल सॉल्व करते समय आप देखें कि सपोज 7 पीपल है और 7 डेज है, और वो 7 को 7 डेस्टिनेशन पसंद है सपोज. सो अभी हम किस वेरिएबल को ना, लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे किस वेरिएबल से हम वी शुड स्टार्ट, तो आप देखोगे कि वहां पे रहता है कि जो लोग का वो डेस्टिनेशन है, सपोज कोई गोवा जा रहा है और बॉम्बे जा रहा, तो जो गोवा और बॉम्बे जा रहे हैं उनके बीच 2 दिनों का गैप है, या कोई कहता है कि वो उसके बाद ही जाता है, पहले जाता है. सो ऑलवेज रिमेम्बर कि ये हमें क्लू देने वाला है कि 2 दिनों का गैप है, या उसके बाद जा रहा है, या कोई मंडे के बाद नहीं जा रहा अपने उस डेस्टिनेशन पे. तो ऑलवेज जो लेफ्ट हैंड साइड पे जो फर्स्ट वेरिएबल आप रखेंगे वो डेज रखें आप. उसके बाद अकॉर्डिंगली जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन, बेसिक इंफॉर्मेशन है, यू फिल द इंफॉर्मेशन, एंड देन सेकेंडरी इंफॉर्मेशन आफ्टर दैट. सेकेंड थिंग, सपोज days are also given and then ranks are also given, and days के लिए लिखा है कि किसी के बीच 2 दिनों का गैप है, उधर रैंक के लिए भी दिया है कि जो हायर रैंक है वो हायर रैंक और लोअर रैंक, या से सुमित एंड अमित आर देयर, तो उनके बीच जो रैंक का फर्क है वो 3 है. अब आपको ये डिसाइड करना पड़ेगा कि आप रैंक को बेस लेके चलें या डेज को बेस लेके चलें, बिकॉज 2 ऐसे वेरिएबल आ गए जहां पे ये गैप्स वाली बात आ रही है. तो क्विकली आप यू गो थ्रू द स्टेटमेंट्स एंड ट्राई टू सी कि किस वाले वेरिएबल से ज्यादा वैसे वाला इंफॉर्मेशन है कि गैप्स को लेके. अगर रैंक से ज्यादा है तो आप रैंक को बेस बनाएं, अदरवाइज आप डेज को बनाएं. इस तरह से यू कैन एड्रेस पजल क्वेश्चंस.
दो क्वेश्चन है यहाँ पे. सुभाष का एक क्वेश्चन है, दैट इज हाउ मच प्रिपरेशन इन ए डे वुड बी एनफ. तो जैसे मैंने पहले बोला था, सुभाष एंड अदर्स आल्सो, इट्स ए कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम. तो कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जाम में कैसा होता है कि इवन इफ यू स्कोर 90% you may not be selected, and you score 40% you may be selected. So this is a race where you have to run faster than others. तो इसमें enough कुछ नहीं बोल सकते. So you try your best. So whatever time you have, and the exam hall preparation, there are many factors. So you have to give your best, and nobody knows when it is enough and how much is enough. So you put all your best effort, but also practice with a strategy. So for like somebody, a strategy may be cracking the exam by strong performance in general awareness. Somebody may crack this exam mainly based on the reasoning score. Especially I'm talking about phase 1, because phase 2 we will talk later. And
I have a follow-up question just on that.
Right.
So as a student, if I want to know how much time did you allocate before 1 week before RBI, so that we get an idea of what is a topper,
so
how much time a topper is investing.
I understand, but I would say maybe I was lucky. So I prepared most of my preparation actually 15 days before the exam. So I was a student that time. So, but for 15 days, I was not doing anything. Anything means anything. I was living in a hostel and food was provided there. So I may be studying like 15 hours a day that time. But before that, I was not doing any preparation. Means I was not say like 6-month plan to crack the exam. So maybe I was lucky, or I got the questions which I prepared. So I could crack it in 15 days, which normally people don't believe that you can crack that exam in 15 days, but it happened. So I had, as I said, that English was not that difficult for me, and likewise quant, etc. But this GK portion is which differentiate RBI. But still you can crack exam based on your strength in reasoning and just qualifying the GK.
So basically, I can say if you are rigorous and you focus on the preparation time, even in the last 7 days, you can really improve your score.
Right, but you should have fundamentals.
Of course.
Yeah, if you have fundamentals, you can. Like, so this exam is actually no comparison with civil services. To be very frank, sometimes people compare with civil services where you need vast amount of knowledge. Here it is not like that, because it is mainly current affairs. So like people are asking some question is there on what to do on finance and banking, and also on general awareness preparation. So see, I will suggest for finance and banking. So here also, like, there are so many things to read. If I tell you about that, you read blah blah on RBI website, then you read union budget, then you read economic survey, then you read Kurukshetra, Yojana. So it will be endless. So in the given amount of time, so I would suggest that the 800 questions we have prepared on our website. So for GS, GA, it will be good enough for banking and financial awareness side. For rest, because again, somebody asked that for Tripti also has asked me what we should do for GK. So for rest of the current affairs, I would suggest go to GK Today, go to Jagran Josh. They have also good amount of information and properly arranged. And also go to magazine like Pratyogita Darpan and maybe Banking Service Chronicle. These 4-5 sources will be enough, and you don't have more time than that. So if you thoroughly cover the current affairs from all these sources, it will be good enough to qualify for the exam. And I think I have addressed this question. How would iXamBee help me with GK? So GK, because we have prepared these questions, and all these GK questions are prepared by me, and I have deliberately kept about 50% of the questions on banking and financial awareness side. Though in the real exam, this will be around 30%, but I have kept more questions from this side because here the space is limited. While in current affairs, it is endless. So current affairs can go to any extent. So I have focused more on the banking and financial awareness side. Arunima, you have anything to add on this?
Actually, I had a question from Ashish. I don't know whether Ashish is there because through mail I asked this question. He just wanted to know the expected cutoff in this 2017 RBI. So Ashish, I would like to say that nobody can guess the cutoff. It will totally depend upon the level of the questions which is going to be asked this year. But if we see last 2 years cutoffs, so in 2015 it was 88.5, and in 2016 it was 98.5. This was aggregate cutoff. And if we go section wise, reasoning 15, English 7.5, and quant 7.5. So these were sectional cutoff, and total was aggregate 98.5. So the gap between these two, total of sectional cutoff is 30, 20, 50. Actually, total of sectional cutoff is 50, but aggregate cutoff was 98.5. So I would suggest, we don't know score इस बार cutoff कितना होगा, लेकिन अगर 2015 and 16 को देखते हैं 88.5, then 98.5, तो this year उसको देखते हैं तो 110 we can expect, but it will totally depend upon the level of the questions. So now जो gap है यहाँ sectional cutoff और aggregate cutoff के बीच में, ये आपको you should try to fill it with GS questions, because that is going to take less time while solving also, or in 7 days also you can maximize here also. And then in other section, reasoning, English and quant, इतना आप जरूर ध्यान रखें इन 7 days में कि कोई ऐसा सेक्शन ना हो जिसमें आप क्वालिफाई ना कर पाए. अदरवाइज ऐसा भी होता है कि एग्रीगेट कट ऑफ 98.5 है, किसी स्टूडेंट को 120 है, बट वो किसी एक सेक्शन में इज नॉट क्वालिफाइड, तो देन आल्सो he will not get the call for phase 2. So that was for I think
we have addressed most of the questions right now. So
yes.
And now we can, I think if we don't have much questions, we can close this, and really appreciate everybody's participation. So Khyati, you have something to add here?
Arunima, you have any questions before we close?
No, I want to say that if you have any questions, you can post the questions through email to us. We'll try to address all the queries you will have.
Yeah, correct.
And I like to thank.
I think we have taken most of the questions. We are about to close the session, but before we close it, I would like to thank all the students for joining and making it a very interactive session. We also would like to hear your feedback, because that will help us know what are the topics that you are interested to know more about from the experts. So please write back to us, tell us how we can improve this session better, what topics you would like to see more, what questions you would like to be answered, and we will definitely take that up in future. Thank you so much for your participation. And thank you experts for sharing your.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.